Processed meats, including bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats, are a staple in many diets because of their convenience, flavor, and high protein content. They're heavily marketed as quick, satisfying sources of protein that can fit into sandwiches, breakfasts, and snacks. From a general nutrition standpoint, processed meats provide essential amino acids and can be part of a protein-rich meal. However, for people with gout or chronically elevated uric acid, processed meats represent a significant risk that goes far beyond their moderate purine content. Their combination of purines, saturated fat, sodium, and chemical preservatives creates a perfect storm for both triggering acute flares and worsening long-term metabolic health. The purine content of processed meats is generally moderate, meaning that they can contribute to uric acid accumulation, especially when consumed frequently or in large portions. Purines in meat are metabolized into uric acid, and for gout-prone individuals, even moderate increases can tip serum urate levels past the threshold for crystal formation in joints. Sausages, hot dogs, and bacon often include muscle and organ tissue mixtures, which can increase purine density compared with pure lean cuts of meat. The cumulative effect of daily consumption can steadily elevate baseline uric acid, making gout flares more frequent, severe, and prolonged. Processed meats carry additional metabolic risks beyond purine content. They are typically high in saturated fat, which contributes to obesity, insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome, conditions that independently reduce the kidney's ability to excrete uric acid. Sodium content is also extremely high in many processed meats, particularly deli slices and bacon, and chronic high sodium intake can worsen fluid balance and reduce uric acid clearance, compounding the risk for hyperuricemia. This combination of metabolic stressors means that processed meats are not merely a moderate purine source. They actively promote the very physiological conditions that make gout more likely and more difficult to manage. Chemical preservatives and additives, such as nitrates, nitrites, and phosphates, also pose potential risks. While these chemicals are primarily added for shelf life, color, and flavor, emerging evidence suggests that they may contribute to oxidative stress, systemic inflammation, and endothelial dysfunction. Chronic low-grade inflammation and metabolic disruption can worsen the inflammatory response to urate crystal deposition, making flares more painful and recovery slower. Individuals who regularly consume processed meats often experience a compounding effect. Purines increase uric acid, while fat, sodium, and preservatives exacerbate metabolic dysfunction, creating a higher overall risk than unprocessed meats alone. Portion size and frequency further magnify the danger. Processed meats are easy to overconsume because they are pre-cooked, pre-flavored, and often served in multiple pieces per meal. A few slices of deli meat or a single hot dog may appear modest, but when consumed repeatedly over the day, the cumulative purine, sodium, and saturated fat load can be substantial. Many people underestimate how this hidden accumulation contributes to uric acid elevation and the onset of gout flares. The habit of daily breakfast bacon, sandwich meats at lunch, and sausage snacks in between meals represents a continuous purine and metabolic burden, which is particularly hazardous for gout-prone individuals. Processed meats are also often paired with other high-risk dietary elements. They are frequently served alongside refined carbohydrates, fried foods, and alcohol, all of which further impair uric acid clearance and increase systemic inflammation. Social habits and convenience-driven eating patterns make it easy to maintain this high-risk combination consistently, which can lead to not only repeated acute gout attacks, but also long-term joint damage, the development of TOFI, and increased risk of comorbidities like hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and type 2 diabetes. From a practical standpoint, limiting or avoiding processed meats is essential for anyone managing gout. Lean, unprocessed cuts of meat, such as skinless poultry, lean beef, or pork in moderate portions, present lower purine and saturated fat content and are far less likely to destabilize uric acid levels. Plant-based protein sources, including legumes, tofu, tempeh, nuts, and seeds, offer protein without the associated purine and metabolic burden of processed meats. Even modest substitution of plant or unprocessed protein for processed meats can reduce cumulative purine intake and improve uric acid control over time. In summary, processed meats are convenient and flavorful, but carry multiple risks for individuals prone to gout. They are moderate to high in purines, high in saturated fat and sodium, and contain preservatives that exacerbate metabolic syndrome and systemic inflammation. Daily consumption or large portions can steadily elevate uric acid, trigger acute flares, and worsen long-term joint and metabolic health. For gout prevention and management, it is crucial to minimize or avoid processed meats, monitor portion sizes, and prioritize lean unprocessed meats or plant proteins, while also paying attention to overall dietary patterns that support uric acid stability and joint protection.